we
wow.
both do that.
We're
Look
in
at
person
us.
now.
I know.
Look at that. One screen.
We're here together. It only took 2 episodes.
Only 2 episodes, but here.
You know.
All you did was listen to for 1 hour, and now you get both of us in one frame.
And, our craft of the day, now that we're starting crafts for our podcast, you're joining the craft club.
My boob looks like a shelf. I'm sorry.
And our activity of today is going to be Ellie's going to dye my hair.
Ta-da! So exciting.
Yeah. Welcome to the Citrus Club, where we are balling on a budget.
Not
Sally
May.
Beauty.
I said Sally Mae. That's a student loan. What are we here to talk about today?
Today, we are going to talk about how you are not as behind as you think you are.
That's true.
Something that I think a lot of our generation, like young adults, do struggle with. I blame social media the whole way.
Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
That's like common knowledge, I fear.
Actually, it's not that common because we both think we're behind.
I think it all comes down to the fact that with social media, everyone posts the good things happening in their life. Yeah. No one's going oh, it's been a while since I've gotten a job interview. No one's kind of doing that. It's all, look, I'm going to Bora Bora.
And then there's also the pressure to not post, because I'm in that position of not posting, because I'm like, well, I don't have anything extravagant to post. And then it's the fear of also if you don't post for a long time and then trying to post again.
Yeah,
then it's anxiety. Because then I'm like, oh my god, is this good? Do I look okay? Is this cute? Are people going to scroll past it?
Yeah, are people going to comment? Are they going to even like it? I do hate that our lives have gotten to that. It's so meta. It all really we're living in a simulation.
I will say I did like when Instagram changed it where you could turn off how many likes you have to people. Because then it's I don't know about you, but I have a certain amount of followers and then I get maybe 50 likes, if that. Yeah. And I'm like, I know for damn sure y'all are seeing it. It's more embarrassing to have the amount of followers I have and then have 5 likes and it's my family.
That's how I feel about TikTok. I'm when I post on TikTok, that is for my friends and my friends only.
Oh yeah.
Nobody else should be looking at my TikTok. I post TikToks for you and for my boyfriend. I post, I'm they're gonna love this.
Oh, it is. And then you're like, hee, did you see my TikTok?
I text it to you. I'm like, hey, you're gonna really like this TikTok today.
No, it's when you try to get boosted on TikTok, you're sending it to everyone to just open and then send share the link and exit. You know what I mean?
It's if you don't share it to 5 people that come to your house and fight you.
Bring back chain mail.
A redhead with chain mail is just
you know how all the dolls in horror movies have red hair?
Okay. What was our topic again? Life, you're not
behind. This is how you dye your hair without losing it.
Mentally and physically.
No, I meant the hair.
Oh,
not losing your hair.
I meant losing my mind.
That's fair. If you ever want to know what hair dye smells like, it kind of smells like you left bleach somewhere in your house and you can't find where you left it.
That's really specific. Have you been there before?
Yes. So, yeah, I wanted to start with saying, once you hit 18, it seems like everything just kind of turns into, what's it called? An avalanche? When something just keeps tumbling and doesn't stop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an avalanche. So, the biggest thing to remember, someone told me this, either that I watched it, it didn't come from my brain, I'm not that profound. Once you turn 18, that's your first year as an adult. You're 1 year old as an adult. So if you're 22 and you feel like you're falling behind, you've only been an adult for 4 years? Mm-hmm. But yet before that, you were able to be a kid, a teenager, adolescent for how many? 18 years? Looking on social media, everybody posts the good stuff, like you said. But everybody around me is oh my god, I'm getting married. Oh my god, I just had my 3rd baby. I'm like, 3rd?
Everyone's going at their own pace.
Yeah. And everybody's life path is different. And your life path is constantly evolving and changing. Don't be stressed, especially if you're one of those folks out there that's in this single, ready to mingle club. It's not the end of the world. There are people that have met the love of their life at 40.
Yeah.
35, 28. What matters is that don't rush, what's the word? A life partner. Because if they're going to be around for, the rest of your freaking life, you want to make sure they're a good one.
Yeah. You don't have to do things just because other people are doing it. Mm-hmm. Some people just have different life plans than you do. Some things work out for a reason, and it's not your fault or their fault about how fast they might be going or how slow you might feel you're going. Every single thing, I think you said this, every single thing is a journey. Life is a journey, and it's what you make of it is how your life is going to be.
Yeah.
You just have to enjoy it.
That, and also don't be so stressed about like this is one thing that gets me, and then I have to be like, actually, you know, I'm kind of better off. And I don't mean that in like a comparison way, but like to kind of self-soothe yourself. I see people all the time, like friends, like good friends, people that I'm acquaintances, people in passing over the years on social media, posting in Italy or going to the Olympics or, you know, doing all these things. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I can barely afford groceries.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they getting this money? And half the time, you know, some people are lucky enough to have family with money that will pay for those things. But then the other half is people are getting into crazy debt. Crazy
Every single
debt.
influencer that you see on TikTok that's doing that is probably just putting it all on credit cards and just hoping for the best.
And hoping for people to like give them free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you think about it, when there are some true influencers out there that will be honest about like their pay and stuff, and they're pretty high up there. I've seen some like big people up there break it down for you. They're not making that much. Like they're making enough to be comfortable and maybe like have a few luxuries in life, but not to the extent to afford the lifestyle needed to continue bringing that in.
Well, because everything they make goes right back into it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking about saving for the future. It's what's the next content that I can create right now.
To get more money. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, you know, because it's a business, but you can't compare yourself to that because they have teams of people.
Sabrina Carpenter like recently said that she kind of had to come to terms with that because, you know, a lot of people are saying that she's an overnight pop sensation, but she's been in the music business for years and years. Sabrina Carpenter, how she's getting all big with like espresso and sweet and sour just came out. She said, she's like, yeah, everyone's calling me this overnight pop sensation, but I've been trying to do music for 10 years.
Since being on Disney Channel.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, that sometimes your growth kind of seems out of nowhere, but people are silently working or you're silently working and it finally pays off.
You know, it's like as soon as you look away and just focus on being on your path and being true to what you want your path to be, next thing you know, you'll blink and then you'll be like, wow, like I'm actually getting the things I want and or the things that are meant for me. Never think that you're going to make it that far, and you have to look back and be like, younger me would be like, wow, we have what?
Yeah.
You know, like if you think about it like that, it's such a different kind of gratification of like, wow, like I'm actually doing okay. Like if you're doing a degree, you're doing a job, you're with someone that you're like, this isn't substantial. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Is that a good part?
Yeah. This is not like, you know, who I want to be or whatever. You have the free will and the power to just change your mind. Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. I think at the end of the day, like one of the best videos to watch, especially if you're like, my life sucks, or like I'm not doing enough, or whatever it is, look at those videos of those older people, like in retirement homes and stuff like that, writing like a piece of advice I'd give younger me, or like a younger look at your hair, younger generation. Half the time, they're saying they wish they didn't care what other people thought of what they did with their lives.
Exactly. In the long run, whose business is it? You're the one living in your body. You're the one who's going to look back on any memories. Whose business is it what you do with your life? It's what you're going to look back and think, I'm so glad that I did that.
Yeah. Or like you don't want to look back and be like, I'm so upset I never did that.
Yes.
You know?
Like live in a way that you don't have these regrets, because that ultimately makes you feel even worse, makes you feel even more behind, because you just regret maybe even just saying no to some opportunities.
That, and I think it was a TikTok the other day. It was like talking about how like our gravestones have the day we're born and the day we die, and a dash in between them and nothing else. So live in the dash, you know what I mean? Like do all the crazy stuff you want to do with your life, because at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. Nobody's going to look at your tombstone and see all your accomplishments on it. Yeah. Or see like all the bad things you did in life or all your regrets. You know, they're just going to see the day you died, a dash, or the day you lived and the day that you died. And you got to live in the moment, live in the mark.
Yeah. That's such a thing where it's like the people who matter to you don't care, and the people who care don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, if someone makes you feel bad for just trying to live your own life, then they don't matter.
That, and they're also probably hurting.
Yeah, they probably feel the exact same way. They're just too afraid to admit it.
Yeah. And a lot of people will call you out or like show a lack of confidence in something that you're doing solely because of the fact that they wish they could have done it or had the confidence to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta have like the kindness for yourself to acknowledge when you're unhappy, and then just sit and think, like, what's causing me to be unhappy? What's causing me to feel like I'm left behind? And how can I either acknowledge that it might not be true, I might just be doing good and I haven't thought about that, or what will make me feel better?
Yeah, like what's the first step in a direction to make me feel better about this? Or like to change it so my life isn't like this anymore.
Yeah. That could even be like a new hairstyle, a new makeup style.
It could be anything. It could be just asking that one friend you've been wanting to get closer to like go get lunch or something.
Yeah.
Or like asking someone more about like their career path if it's something you're interested in, you know?
Yeah, asking for advice. You can always reach out and just ask for advice. Like,
people love to give advice.
They love it. Facebook allows that. Like, you can find people that you can DM and just ask, like, I really love your pottery business. How'd you get into this? I think different things like that help. I think hobbies
and
are
obviously
really nice.
Be safe with who you're communicating with on the internet, but
of course we're trusting you all to use your big brains.
Don't reach out to people that seem super sketchy or if they want things from you. Yeah, good people, especially in places of success, are more than happy to tell you where they got where they were. I mean, you see all those street interviews about like that one guy who goes up to people with really nice cars and is like, "What do you do for a living?" And then asks them like, "What kind of advice would you give like a younger business person?" Or you know what I mean? Like they're always happy to talk about themselves. Or like talk about like their success, you know, because it's kind of like one of those things of like, what's it called? You give back what you get. You know, like when you become successful, you're more, not everyone, but you're more willing to like do things to give back to the community that helped you get to where you're at.
Exactly. I think that's just a really good way to try and reset your life and change your perspective on what you might be thinking. Because a lot of people, like myself included, you get in that rut and you just think, I can't change anything. I'm stuck here.
I get there too.
It just takes that kick in the rear, you know?
Yeah. That, and also like your biggest opponent is your own negativity. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to sit there and be like, woe is me, but not actually do anything to better your situation or try, like, obviously nothing's going to be instantaneous, you know what I mean? But not taking that step in the right direction, like, you don't have anyone to blame but yourself.
Yes. Because this is a quote, I think it's from, like, the Sing movie. Do you know what I'm saying?
Stop, yeah.
And he says, like, once you hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is just right up.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
If you sit stewing on the fact that you don't feel as productive or as successful as your peers, it's just going to make you feel worse and you won't see how far you've actually come.
Yeah, and that also puts you in executive dysfunction of like not making a move to do better because you're in this stuck of like, what if what I do isn't right? Or, oh my God, your back is going to be a carrot. You got to give yourself, I guess, like the ability to accommodate to yourself, whether that's not being so hard on yourself or also realizing that like progress and growth is not going to happen overnight. And sometimes you take a step back before you take more steps forward.
Well, you know, and sometimes it just takes one person, just one person believing in you and saying, yeah, I'll support you. Let's get through this.
You got to be your biggest cheerleader because at the end of the day, when people aren't cheering you on, your voice has got to be louder than others. Comparison is the thief of joy. Is that not correct?
It's so correct. If you're constantly looking at what other people are doing and just comparing it and nitpicking it to yourself, you're never going to be happy with what you have accomplished because it's just going to dim it. You're going to dim your own light for someone else who probably ain't even thinking about you. They're not thinking about that. Most other people, or they might be, everyone might be comparing a little bit, but you just got to get through it.
That, and also to like all my like girlies out there that are chronically ill, you need to stop comparing comparing your current self to your past self, because that's one that I definitely struggle with. Is like, especially, and that doesn't even need to be chronic illness label, but in that sense of like, you may have been able to do so many things in the past, and you can't beat yourself up for what your body's not able to do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you can even compare that to people aging. Like, back in the day, I used to be more flexible, and you need to stop beating yourself up, because that's not, like, you're not in that point of your life right now where your body's able to do that for you anymore. And that doesn't mean that, like, you're, incapable or, something's wrong with you. It just means that, you're going through life. Things change. But what's important is if you're adaptable, you'll stay afloat. If you don't adapt to it, you're going to sink.
Yeah. You got to just think, what can I do for myself right now? How can I make things a little easier, make things a little better for me, make myself feel better?
No, I can't move my head, my back.
No! Comparison is the thief of joy, but
can be motivation to push you further.
Yeah. Use it as that.
So if you compare yourself to like some celebrity and you're like, they have a mansion, they have all these nice cars, I want all that. Okay. Don't compare yourself in that sense, but be like, okay, they have all these nice things. What is the first step I can do to also possibly get these nice things?
How can I work towards that instead of just
comparing?
Yeah, comparing. All you're doing is fantasizing for a world that's not real unless you work for yourself right now.
Yeah, because nothing is going to happen overnight. And if you work hard now, the next 10 years might be super, like the rest of your life might be easy.
Yeah. The discomfort of today is what builds you for tomorrow.
Yeah. It's the lag.
I feel like we could just keep saying like inspirational quotes.
As I'm dyeing your hair.
Yeah, and that's how we get to the end of the episode.
And you know what I have? So I found my old Twitter account, like high school Twitter account.
Do you have enough to put on my eyebrows? Yes.
Yeah. And you want to know what the bio was? Wow. When life gives you lemons, add vodka. And I was like, isn't that so funny? Like, years later, I manifested that.
You manifested the club.
I was like, slay.
And you know what? If you've made it this long, comment a lemon emoji.
A lemon emoji.
A lemon emoji.
Either that or a redhead emoji.
A redhead hair with her hand like this.
Just a salon in my living room.
Just a salon. Sometimes I do think that the best way to not feel behind is to just have a good night with your friends or your family.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just a Zoom call or a FaceTime, have a good time. Yeah. And just enjoy your life.
Be present.
Yeah. Put up your phone, sit just for 1 hour with people who care about you, or even like reading a book, doing a hobby. I think that's just such a good way to refocus on what makes you, you.
Yeah. That, and it just helps you disconnect from all the like I saw, it was like parents had a podcast. I was watching like a parent podcast on TikTok. It was a clip.
Okay.
And it was talking about how these like celebrity, I wouldn't say celebrity, but like famous people, where they don't give their kids social media until 18. And then the other mom who was on the other side of the podcast was like, I tell my daughter all the time, if you can prove and show me some like statistics or studies done to prove that social media is good for you, then I'll let you have it. But there are none.
Yeah.
And so if you give yourself the chance to disconnect from that, you'll be so much more incredibly grateful for what you do have instead of what you don't have.
I do like keeping a little gratitude journal. Like when you're feeling super down, just thinking to yourself, oh, I'm grateful that I can breathe.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that the sun is out.
I have 2 working legs.
Yep. I'm grateful that I have friends. Like just different things like that.
And I compare myself all the time. I'm such a hypocrite in that sense, especially more in a chronic illness sense, because I know I posted on my private story the other day about that. Tilt your head back. Was the fact that I get stressed and upset when I see all my friends like going on nights out or like going back to back to back to doing all these fun things. And I'm like, that would put me in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it stresses me out because then I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out on my own life. Like I'm grieving my 20s, the years that are supposed to be my most abled, and I'm not.
Because it's something that you can't help.
And I have no control over it.
No control.
But it definitely makes me feel more isolated because then I'm putting a border between me and my friends in the sense of like,
it festers.
Yeah. It becomes like almost like jealousy, but not that word. It's more of like, all of a sudden I have a detest towards you because you're capable of doing things that I can't.
Yep.
And then I have to sit there and be like, oh my God, like my friends still care about me even though I can't do XYZ with them. You know, like they still, if I called them up right now, they'd want to hang out, you know?
It's finding different things that you're able to do and not.
Yeah.
Because you don't want
and finding friends that are willing to include me without making it difficult.
And that's, I said it before, I'll say it again, that's so bare minimum. It really makes me mad how, oopsies, I should have brushed it before thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what gets me, is that being a nice friend is so bare minimum.
And it's rare.
It's so bare minimum to have snacks for a gluten-free friend. It's so bare minimum to have a friend with POTS and say, hey, how about we just watch a movie and not go out?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, even just, like, including them, even if it's just an invite.
Yeah.
Like, they could be in a flare-up or something where they're not able to, but it's the fact that you still invited them is what makes them feel like you still see them as someone you want to hang out with.
And not like day of. Not like one of those, like, backhanded being like, well, we thought you might want to.
If you want to.
If you want to come. No. I think that makes... Oh, sorry. I, like, really...
You lifted your eyebrows.
I did. I was moving them your way, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My way. I didn't know eyebrows could move in this direction.
Go forward.
Like Pinocchio.
Every time I lie, my eyebrows get bigger.
That's so funny. I'm like trying to be so careful.
Listeners, check Canvas for homework.
Oh, I gotta get rid of that. I graduated.
Listeners, Ellie's currently now dyeing my eyebrows. We're at the end of our session.
Yeah. But yeah, so like just being a good friend is such bare minimum. At least like having the thought. Like if you're out with a friend that may not have the same capabilities as you, just even like offering them, like being like, hey, do you need anything? Or like, hey, like I know we've been walking for a little bit. Do you want to sit down?
Yeah. Because
my biggest thing is like I can still go out and do things, but I cannot walk as fast as I used to. Or I can't like...
It's not a race. You're not trying to run.
And so, but then I feel bad because I'm like, if I don't keep up, then I'm going to be slowing everybody else down. You know what I mean? So just not putting your friends in a position where they feel like if I don't act like I'm normal like everybody else, I'm going to be discluded. Yeah. You know? I'll fix this up right a little bit.
And I think that's one way that you can really just live life in the moment and not feel like you're being left behind when you are a good friend and a good partner. Just a good person.
Be a good person.
Just be a good person.
It's not that hard.
It will genuinely make you feel so much better because you're around people who will be good back to you.
And it always comes back to you tenfold.
Karma.
Karma's on me.
I should have known better.
We're gonna get copyright.
I think that's all for the Citrus Club. I just want to like fade into that.
Yeah. Just was like. So that was the Citrus Club.
Thanks for joining us on the Citrus Club. Hope that we shared a little bit of knowledge with you today.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye-bye. Woo!